Someone shot the food. Life force flooding out.
Good evening, everybody. It is the Mr. Video Game Live Super Show, live, brought to you, of course, live by Dead Sun Entertainment. We are here back after a fun week of people having a whole lot of really great physical problems happening, and don't worry, everything's taken care of. Everyone's left the hospital, and we're all taken care of now. So we are back on. I am Slacker Kite. I guess I'm the editor guy. I push button, make thing go, keep community running, all that good stuff. Because I love all your faces and I love seeing you going out here. Lady Merwin will be with us later. She is trying to get everything resolved.
But she is here.
Oh!
Haha!
How dare you come in while I'm trying to say that you did not come in? Hey, Marilyn, how you doing?
The unexpected. I'm okay, except for the fact that, tech is my job and apparently it hates me today, so.
I mean, tech is my job too, and it always hates me, so, you know.
It was like we had a minor power outage a week ago,
Mhm.
and I haven't used my desktop since then.
Mhm.
And so I tried to boot it, it wouldn't post. Force restarted it, it finally posted and then was slow as fuck, and then Discord decided to go, "I don't feel like opening." Okay, fine, I'll open, but here's 2 updates. Also, you have to sign in again. Who remembers their Discord password?
I don't normally remember mine, so.
Yeah. So that was fun. And yeah, just I had a half hour of overtime tonight that was not scheduled because I got stuck on a call.
Love it.
And yeah, so today is just mind-numbingly awesome, and then with the bullshit from last week and still chasing down a surgeon, it's fun.
I'd love to ask more on that, but, I mean, surgery isn't video games unless you're playing, like, Surgeon Simulator or one of those wonky Japanese games, so.
But what if we made surgery a video game?
I think
Like
that would
real
go against,
surgery.
like, the habeas corpus or something?
Make the doctors game masters.
I mean, really with the shit they're gonna be dealing with, like, I'd be fine if it was gamified. It's not like it's a vital organ or anything.
Nah. You don't need those things. You got, like, 3 or something, right?
1, but it's a vestigial organ that actually has no use anymore, so.
Fair enough. Kelverin, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you in chat. Brian, how you been?
Well, not dealing with physical ailments, thankfully, but I do extend my I don't know what condolences isn't the right word, but condolences is what I'm gonna say.
Hmm.
I'm glad that y'all are both doing better. And hopefully it will continue to be better. No,
Yeah.
I mean I'm okay. I've been a busy boy, basically. That's really yeah. I agree with Kel. I am alive.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, at least mine was just like, I feel kind of sick and not, I have to go to the hospital.
mm,
So,
Mine
yeah.
for
was,
sure.
hey, my body's trying to kill me again. What? More stones, but not from a kidney? Beautiful.
You you
God,
you generate too much stone. You should stop that.
but I need the stone to build the mountain peak, and
Hmm.
then unlock all those resources. I'm sorry, my whole brain is just wired to Loop Hero right now.
I'm sitting
You're
here
not
thinking
alone.
I'm just gonna build myself a cabin in the woods and not use any natural resources.
No, just make sure when you build that cabin, you put the meadows all around it, so you get the blooming meadows, and then you get all of the HP per day benefits from that. And then put some chrono crystals next to those, so you get double. I'm sorry, my brain is just it's looping. It's just a loop.
I mean, isn't everything a loop? And we've got like Death Loop coming up soon, and just so many loops coming on these days.
Yes, so many loops.
Loop all the things.
I'm glad my camera is not on right now because I might be adjusting something in my mouth region if I lisp a lot for the next 6 months. My apologies. I have plastic shoved in my mouth regions, and I decided to throw a bag of popcorn in my mouth before the show.
I was
Ooh.
gonna make a joke asking if it was a loop that you were adjusting in your mouth, but that's actual like medical things that you need to fix. So no jokes.
um, I will say myself, I decided to fuck around with some like weird technology stuff. I got an Evercade working on my Game Boy, and it's really weird. Like,
Mm,
of course, I have friends that are into the whole piracy thing. I'm probably not going to play a whole lot of the pirated games on there, but I do want to have it as an option. And it also, like, on my Game Boy now, it can also play NES and Master System and Game Gear games.
huh.
It is so
Not gonna
weird
lie.
seeing the Game Boy logo directly followed by Sega.
Yes. That picture you posted is just so wrong in so many ways, but it needs to continue.
Also, of course, just before the show, I listened to Ikaruga on vinyl.
Dope.
Yeah, the world works in weird fucking ways, but hey, we're here now. We might as well just talk about Loop Hero, because I think that's what literally everybody and their mom is playing right now.
At least in our Discord.
It has been deemed by Twitter as crack, so, you know.
I'm not
I can
playing it.
Well, you should be.
Yeah, well, rent comes first. Games come second.
We can fix that.
This is the kind of game that like I've seen Trev. I mean, I'm sure you have too, Lens, but in our Discord, like Trev has like offered multiple people to like, I'll buy this for you. You need to play it.
Yeah, I think this is a game that is sort of a universally applicable thing, because I think this is the first game that is kind of an idle game, but also definitely not an idle game
Hmm.
at the same time.
See, it's so odd when trying to describe exactly what this game is in one way, but also it's so intuitive in another way. Like, yes, there are some mechanics to it that are like drawn directly from idle games, but it is so. I have not been playing it like an idle game. Like I have been, I'll throw on like something like a podcast or something to listen to while I'm playing it, But like I am solely focused on this thing whenever I am playing it.
Oh, I've been so far like running it when I'm like looking at podcasts or moving files around. Just it is a thing that, because you can set it to take a break after every level or every battle or whatever have you, that it just keeps going, and then I can be like, oh, let me move my resources around now and do my Diablo style comparing of, oh, is this dagger better than the dagger I had before? Wow, the Invisalign is making my goofy voice sound even goofier.
That's positive.
It's
It's helping with my voice acting capabilities. Real cool.
So I guess for anyone that is listening that doesn't know what Loop Hero is, it's a game developed by Four Quarters Games and released by Devolver Digital. So immediately a tick in all of our boxes, I believe,
Mm.
right there. But basically, you are just playing this hero who's only known as Hero in a world that has been devoured by the Lich, and you get put on a loop. Your character is constantly moving forward. All the fights that you run into on the as you loop around this path are auto battles. So really the only thing you control is how you kit out your person based off of what you get on drops in the game, and also you have cards. So it's like a deck builder also, and you have cards you can place down terrain that can boost different things or decrease certain things. There are cards you can play along the path to give you spots where you can collect resources, and then there are other cards you can play on the sides of the path that generate stronger enemies and different style of enemies, and also and all the cards interact with each other in interesting and very um, uh, cloaked ways, shall we say? Like
Yeah.
half of the fun of the game is just figuring out what interacts with what and what happens whenever it does.
Yeah, it's really bizarre trying to figure all of that out, right? Because you're like putting different things in different places and trying them against, ooh, does the desert do anything with worms? So we put it next to here and it doesn't do anything with worms. But wait, do I need a 3x3 grid? And by the next thing you realize, you've spent like 2 hours playing with things for no good reason. It's
Yeah,
delightful.
it's so good. It's so much trial and error, and whenever you do have those eureka moments, like it's just sublime. Like I know for me over the weekend when I was playing it, I finally like figured out the strategy of like, I was trying to figure out what the fuck to do with the chrono crystals, which basically double like the daily effect for whatever is adjacent to. And I finally had the epiphany. I was like, oh wait, I should just surround these with blooming meadows as much as possible, just to keep popping up that HP per day um, thing. So like I don't know, there's just and like discovering like how to turn mountains into mountain peaks for the first time. I had the same thing with the deserts and the sand dunes, where like I put them in like a 4x4 grid, and like I couldn't figure out what was going on. I couldn't figure out what to do with those. But it's all just trying to figure out how stuff interacts with one another. Um, and then also there's the second part of the game is the base building stuff, which I believe, Trev, you described as very ActRaiser esque.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it reminds me of is like playing around an ActRaiser and okay, so I make my villagers happy by putting a shrubbery next to the town hall. Cool, put it there. Oh, but wait, there's things on fire and then there are dragons coming from the sky. What do you do? It is just the most fun and I think everyone should play it ever.
Yeah, and like it's a challenge. I will say that it's a hard game at points unless you get really lucky. But I've really enjoyed it. It sucks you in,
Oh yeah.
and I've really enjoyed the story too. I think the story is something that doesn't get talked about as much because like it's such an interesting idea about like philosophical discussions on existence and memory and exactly how those two things intertwine and what really constitutes a memory if you can't remember the world that you're in, but you're constantly building up another one around you. that changes every time you do it. Like it's like unstable universes, unstable settings, unstable memories, and like really questioning whether what you are being charged to do is the right thing to do, but still feeling the compulsion to do it anyway. Like so many of the character interactions, like whenever you unlock a new enemy, the first time you interact with it, there's like a little, I guess you could call it a cutscene, but it's just like some dialogue between you and the character, and it always kind of ends where like the enemy that you're running into isn't necessarily an enemy. They're just doing what they need to do to survive.
Mm.
Like they're not trying to kill you because you're the hero. Like the harpy needs to feed its young, and you look tasty. The bandits are like just poor and downtrodden, and they think that you automatically think that you're better than them, and they want to, like, they just want to escape poverty. You know, like it's all these different ideas, but yet you still are forced to slay them.
Mm.
And I don't know. There's just so many different interactions. All the different interactions with the Lich, the first boss, are fun. Like every time you go back and face him subsequent times, like the dialogue is really interesting for the first few times there. Just talking about like how could like the questioning of existence itself as you create an existence around you. It's just there's just so much to unpack with that.
I think like one of my favorites was when like so throughout the whole game you're relearning different parts of yourself even, and fairly early-ish on you relearn that you're a thief, and suddenly, oh hey, I stole this guy's coins, neat, I didn't know I could do that. Have you played Loop Hero? Why, yes, I have. Vote.
I'm excited that I've figured out how to do this.
There's a poll going on. Cool.
Yeah. No, I've really enjoyed it. I haven't beaten the second boss yet.
Neither have I.
I've been mainly just gathering resources to build up the town really right now. Like I haven't unlocked the necromancer class yet. I'm getting there. I've been like using rogue to like build up as much scrap metal as possible and that sort of thing. And like it's just good such a good thing to like just invest some time in. And like loops can take anywhere from like 20 minutes to half an hour depending. And so like it's a good like morsel of stuff. Like just pop in, run a loop, see if you can build anything after you finish it, and then pop out for a little while, or get sucked in for hours on end. It's either way. There's multiple ways to really engage with it, and and it rewards you for doing either. You know.
I love that one of the potential rewards for beating the first boss is you can do loops even faster.
Yes.
15% increased speed. Okay.
I
Quality of
guess at
life.
this point, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Just quality of life changes. I didn't realize those were rewards, but cool.
Whenever you're redefining life, what do you know about quality of life? You have to redefine that for yourself. I
What
guess
does
I
it
don't know
mean?
exactly. It's so good. I don't know. Linz, do you have any questions so far based off of the mess that we're like putting out there?
Um, okay, so it seems ridiculously complex underneath it all. And I mean, we all know how very little time I get to actually game
But
in
you
a
don't
given
have
week.
to put like your actual brain into it.
No?
No, you can just let it go.
So I could like just launch this at the start of my shift and leave my computer on mute and then go do my job and then come back and poke at it on breaks.
Uh, yeah, but like you won't get very far unless like you can tell it to pause at every loop, so it'll go through like 5 minutes of game and then you come back. Because you don't actually have to do any fighting or using of inventory yourself. It's just equipping items and placing tile.
Huh. I might have to poke at it.
Mm-hmm.
but it'll be a while.
Hmm.
But I will poke at it eventually.
Well, okay. I mean, poke at your Steam, maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, there are a lot of like systems working underneath the hood there, and it's really fun to like learn how they all interact with one another in a way.
E.
So it's a game that is ripe for dissection.
Yeah, especially by huge nerds like us that love looking real deep into things that.
Yeah. Oh my god, the first time I put a vampire mansion next to a village, fuck that.
But
Just
eventually, the vampire makes the village better.
eventually.
Hmm. It takes time, but they build up your village for you after you kill several of them. Anyway, hey, let's go to talking about actual news though, shall we?
Sure.
All right, pull that on up. Hey everybody, this is my face. I should have better prepped it for you, but how you doing? So, we're going to start off talking about Nintendo, cuz why the hell not? Nope. Nintendo is planning to make a larger Switch according to sources from Samsung. Basically, Samsung is currently working on parts, especially a larger 7-inch 720p display, which is larger than the existing Nintendo Switch. Um, and they have some of the specs on what the actual console will do. This will be an OLED display, which will definitely be slightly nicer, not the nicest, but it will also keep cost relatively down while providing a nicer screen than the existing Nintendo Switch. And from what Bloomberg Intelligence here says, and primarily this comes from Takashi Boshizuki from Bloomberg. It's surprising to not have Jason Schreier here, but hey, Bloomberg has a lot of great writers for it. But yeah, they're expecting to likely see this console for holiday season this year.
Huh.
Yeah, just a bigger, better, prettier new Nintendo console. And more than likely, that'll mean the existing Switches will go down in price and all of that fun stuff. So,
Possibly. I mean, Nintendo is notorious for not dropping prices on stuff. So
true.
it might, I don't know how immediate that is going to be, but I don't know. Like the new Switch is cool. I'm curious to see how like the 4K actually looks on this, like for when it's docked. Like if it actually is putting out 4K or if it's just like up-res to 4K or like or what. Not that I have a 4K TV or anything that I can give a fuck about, but like it's just promises made. Like I'm curious how they deliver on that.
See, knowing the income bracket that all of us here at Mr. Video Game is within, I don't think any of us are getting a 4K TV or monitor anytime soon. So, you know,
Hell no.
yeah, it's a thing that exists, and I'm very happy for the people with their 4K. But I'm excited for the OLED panel, which will let me, because I mostly play the Switch handheld anyway. With bigger, more expansive games, I'll dock it for the whole experience. But if I'm playing Persona 5, it's going to be in hands because if I miss a few details on the pretty pixels, what the hell ever. But with an OLED screen coming in at 720p, it's going to be fairly pretty for a console as such. And Lord knows that the Nintendo Switch hardware is looking pretty long in the mouth these days. So better hardware will mean better performance, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of newer, stronger games come out of this.
Yeah, I know for me one thing, like I've really started to notice the frame rate stuff when playing Age of Calamity.
Mm.
I mean, granted, if there's a game that's gonna fuck with your frame rate, it's gonna be a fucking Musou game, but
Yeah.
still, like I don't know. My partner and I, we beat that over the weekend too, and I will just say, the Age of Calamity. I did not expect the ending of that game to nearly make me cry, but it did. But that being said, though, yeah, like the frame rate was real bad at many times during the final battle of that game. And so hopefully a new Switch will bring some new performance standards that will meet what the next generation of games are going to be trying to deliver.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely noticed the same when I'm playing Strikers.
Yeah.
Using my tongue. Uh, I actually didn't expect to have sprite drops sometimes, but like sometimes one of the sprites will just flicker in the middle of it, and you're just like, oh, this is a throwback to ye olden days.
Woof.
But hey, Nintendo isn't always as generous. Before we go into the next part about Nintendo, we've all got to remember that Nintendo is always going to Nintendo, and they are still planning at the end of March to pull all of the Mario related stuff. If you want to play that Mario 35, it will be gone. If you want a Game and Watch, uh, they're still shipping them out, but after that date, they will not be available for you, and they will not be making any more Super Mario 3D All Stars.
I mean, this was the expectation though. Like there was nothing in their messaging whenever they announced a lot of this stuff that they were going to continue it at least immediately. You know, like it's frustrating, yes, but also like it's exactly what they said they were going to do.
Yeah, I'm not as mad as a lot of people are about this, but it is a continuation of just Nintendo not being as consumer friendly as they can be, but I still look at Nintendo honestly less as a games company, as more of a boutique experience company than anything else, and so I don't really feel terribly mad about this myself.
Yeah, I mean it's frustrating just because like it would make sense to keep these things available, at least like if you're going to take them away, bring them back at some point for people to purchase and download again that didn't purchase it during the window here. But like at the end of the day, we're talking about like Super Mario Brothers 35 and 3D All Stars, like not like games that we've heard a ton about. You know, like there's not been a lot of like chatter around those since they were like initially dropped.
A little amused that keeping the actual stuff from Nintendo in the middle of the frame also includes being surrounded by thick anime thighs, and I mean, life's okay sometimes, I guess.
The major thing coming out of this is that the online support for Su- Super Mario Maker is going to be taken down the same day.
What? I
That's the
actually didn't
thing that,
notice that part.
yeah. So Nintendo announced that they're going to be discontinuing online services for the Wii U, which means Super Mario Maker. So basically, after that day, um, they're going to be. Oh no, this already happened. Actually, never mind. This already happened. They took down that where people couldn't upload courses anymore for Super Mario Maker for Wii U.
Okay,
So
that adds up
yeah.
a little bit more. Like Super Mario Maker for the Wii U is a lot older. I was thinking the Switch of Mario Maker, and my brain just did
Oh
a holy shit, you fucks.
well, I mean, also like the first one's the better game and has more of an install base. Like I
Mm,
think people like I don't know. So, but still, that's something that happened back in January. That's not planned for March.
fair enough.
Um, yeah.
And hey, while we're looking at the Pokemon stuff, you probably don't remember the Pokemon Mini, the awkward little Tamagotchi like game that Nintendo put out 20 years ago. They maybe bring it back as people have started to see listings that referenced Pokemon Mini. So it may be for some of the upcoming uh, celebrations of Pokemon turning 25 may include this Pokemon Mini coming out. Just kind of neat. It would be interesting if they do.
I think it'd be cool to play around with. I mean, I had a couple of knockoff Tamagotchis, and because screw being able to afford the original when it came out,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't have minded playing around with one of these,
Yeah, they
especially
legit.
now since I'm back into Pokemon again apparently because Peter picked up a Switch with Pokemon Sword,
Nice.
and then he made me a profile on that Switch, and then handed me the Switch and said, "Here, try
As well, these are just kind
Pokemon
of neat
points."
collector's items, and like an old Pokemon Mini is going for like $80 to $100.
Huh.
So yeah, it's a good way to get one of them in your hands for relatively cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
all that says. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
oh
off.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say all that says to me is that Nintendo needs to make sure that they have their bot detectors out really
Hmm.
in heavy force whenever this thing releases, if it does release.
Yeah. I mean, it's tiny, it's adorable. It's probably going to be at a relatively affordable price point, like 40 to 60 bucks. Um, I mean, I'd pay 40 bucks for something like that.
Yeah, hey, check it out. A Pokemon Mini console right now, used, very much not mint, $100. It's ridiculous trying to find these things. Like, here's one that went for $110. Or then only $98 with $20 shipping.
Like the OG one was like part step counter as well, right?
I don't recall, to be honest.
Because I think it'd be cool if there was a way, like with the new one, to like integrate it into like your fitness apps and
Oh, dude, if it like
stuff like
integrated
that,
somehow into Pokemon Go, that'd be killer, right?
right?
Yeah, they'd made bank.
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. My thought process whenever you were talking about step counters was like make that the thing that you wear for Ring Fit Adventure,
Oh,
so that the thigh strap doesn't constantly like
yeah.
mess with my shorts.
You know, or like you try to do a certain type of movement and you accidentally hit, like I keep accidentally like elbowing the print screen button in the middle of a movement.
Mhm.
I've
So
seen people who have like fairly muscular thighs trying to do the squats, and all of a sudden you just see the band go poing and just launch off their leg.
Oof.
It's like,
Glad
this
that
might
hasn't
not
happened
be the
yet.
best of ideas.
something that may interest certain portions of our audience. A open world third person D&D RPG is likely in development. The people that brought you CS:GO Hidden Path are working on this. There are job descriptions is mainly the thing that leads us to this. Speaking about this, there has of course been nothing mentioned by either company, as this would be extraordinarily or early in the work, so do not expect to see this before like 2024 2025. But D&D over the last several years, especially after Stranger Things came out, has sparked a huge resurgence in the interest, especially in America, of D&D. So seeing them want to re-explore the D&D property in PC gaming just makes logical sense, right? Like the early days of PC gaming, D&D related games were absolutely huge, and then they just kind of trickled away for a while.
um, so I'm cautiously optimistic for this.
Mhm.
Very cautiously optimistic for this. Um, But we have seen how terribly, terribly bad D&D anything can go.
You are
God.
I
not
would
wrong.
I would like to draw your attention to the upcoming Dungeons and Dragons movie that's supposed to be coming out next May.
Oh,
So May of 2022, which has Chris Pine in it, which is cool,
okay.
and it has Michelle Rodriguez in it,
Also cool.
but their choice of villain,
The
they
two
have
fun guy?
cast Hugh Grant as the villain.
Okay.
I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch or bust, for one. For two, he's an idiot in rom-coms. He
Yeah,
can't be a villain in a D&D movie. No!
it's hard to take him that seriously after so many meet cutes. My least
So-
favorite word in the English dictionary currently, but still. Word.
So I'm just afraid of seeing what could happen to a D&D video game.
I mean, has there ever been a good D&D video game?
Baldur's Gate?
Divinity, Pillars of Eternity.
Like an act like
Oh, a branded D&D game, like actually
Yeah.
by Wizards of the Coast?
yeah,
Mm.
like anything that had that Dungeons and Dragons branding on it as a video
Um,
game. Because I
I
know there's
mean-
stuff that's derivative from it that's been good, but
Neverwinter wasn't terrible.
Yeah, a lot of people love Neverwinter Nights.
I mean, it is one big cash grab,
Mm-hmm.
oh, for sure.
but I mean, it wasn't horrific. It functioned. It was fairly smooth. Like I played it for a while and it wasn't horrific.
I'm just trying to think if
Um,
there's been a good like story-driven D&D video game, and I can't think of one.
Like, if
Yeah.
you go back to ye real early days of PC gaming, there's a lot of them, but, you know, there wasn't a really high bar in the 80s for video games in the first place.
I wonder, and I had a hard copy of it somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig at some point. There it is. Is that it? I think that's it. Was this branded by Wizards? Arcane, Ubi. Because I have in my possession, and y'all can laugh, a copy of Dark Messiah, which was part of the Might and Magic series.
Okay.
And I wanted to see if Wizards of the Coast had a hand in it because it played very much like a D&D campaign.
Hmm.
Apparently not.
Huh.
I also didn't know Arcane Studios was behind it. But okay. And it was probably one of the last good things that Ubi ever made. But you know, yeah.
Fair enough.
It's a game. I have no system that can run it anymore because it's on a CD.
CDs, physical media? Be
Right.
gone!
Who would have?
Hey, I still have my Wrath of the Lich King OG release that came on 4 DVDs.
Oh,
Woof.
those were the days.
Lord.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, for me with D&D, like, the fun is like creating the adventure yourself.
Mhm.
It's the creativity of it. You know, it's the main reason why my partner and I we started a D&D campaign, like, was in Friends here, like in the past month or so, because we got the itch to get in and kind of do our own like creative stuff in that way. But that gets restrained so much whenever you put it in a video game. I think that's the main reason why these games have never really tracked well with me.
Hmm.
It's also interesting that this news came out because the I think the other major like fantasy nerd thing that we're into in a way is also getting the action RPG treatment. I don't know if y'all heard about the Magic the Gathering action RPG that's being developed right now.
Wait, what?
I did. I don't have a very positive opinion on Magic the Gathering, so
Yeah, they're
Know
making a
about
Magic.
this.
They're making a Magic action RPG called Magic Legends.
mm,
The open beta starts on the 23rd.
I need to get in on this because, like, there's such a rich lore in that world. Oh my god.
you take that. You can have it.
They're saying it's Magic's Diablo. If that's a good segue to the next story.
Sure, let's just segue.
I think we broke Trav.
Hey, if you've kept your save games from Diablo 2, first off, I don't understand you or who you are, but I'm also oddly impressed by you. But secondly, once Diablo 2 Resurrected comes out, you can dust off those old save games and pop them right into Resurrected and keep the stats that you got.
I don't understand. I do understand, but I don't understand why you do this.
I mean, okay. So, OG Diablo 2 graphics. Not so pretty.
Hmm.
But a lot of people put a lot of work into their sad little pixelated characters.
Oh yeah, my friend Zach since spent like months of his life grinding the same area to try to find pieces to one set of armor.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine still having that save file and finally getting to see the fruits of that labor upresed.
Okay. See, and I think that's the main reason why I was saying like I could see why they're doing it because like yeah, if you put a lot of work into your Diablo 2 save originally, then that makes total sense, especially seeing it in like this new graphical presentation. I guess for me it's also just like in my brain like if you have a Diablo 2 save file from that long that if you've beaten that game and this is coming from someone who did not play Diablo 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you've beaten the game and you have that save file still, why would you want to import it into the game whenever you could just like start a new game and relive the whole experience again?
See, what I imagine is exactly what Lindsay said. Like, they're going to start a new game, play through the campaign, and then import their big buffed out dudes from the olden days so that they don't have to do the 100, 200, 3 hours worth of grinding to get those mats they want again for the epic lootsings.
Hmm.
I mean, like, this was back when if you wanted to play multiplayer, it was a LAN party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some people in those hundreds upon thousands of hours of solitude grinding out this game might have let their minds wander and come up with like a whole backstory and, like built this epic adventure in their head to go along with what they were playing. And they've got those fond memories. They'd like to bring them back.
Okay, you sold me. Y'all sold me. Like I think like it was one of those things like I totally understand that aspect of it, but for me, I guess for me coming to the game is like why wouldn't you just want to like if you're going to replay Diablo 2 as a remaster, then play Diablo 2 again. I don't know. That's just that's just how my brain goes. But also like there are games where I have like save files that I wouldn't mind like resurrecting if they did a remaster of it at some point. So I get it. It's just one of those things that like there's a yes and a no in my brain. You know.
The sad fact of the matter is that Diablo 2 in my own head is completely ruined and I can never play this again because of one asshole, Big Fat Polly's son. Uh, just like Zach told me about this one, that in the middle of just hanging out over at Polly's house, he heard his son from another room uh, very loudly exclaim, "My paladin is an N-word." And the fact that someone had that take has forever ruined Diablo 2 in my own head. Because every time I look in that game, I hear that reverberating back into my head. And it's like, no, it's ruined. So yeah, this is why I'm a little bit derivative, a little bit down on Diablo 2 whenever I speak on it. It's like, I recognize this is a game loved by millions of people and one of the best games of the the late 90s, as far as these types of things go, but gross.
I think
Duly noted.
I think too the part of the reason why this is so newsworthy is because it's showing something that none of us thought we would see.
Mhm.
Blizzard learning from their mistake. Because when they did their, what was it, Warcraft 3 remaster,
It was awful.
and it also, when you installed it, if you had your old save files with your custom maps that you had spent hours upon hours tweaking, it overwrote them.
Mhm.
Woof.
So this is Blizzard going, shit, dude, sorry. Didn't mean for that to happen. Well, maybe we did. But at any rate, not only are we not going to overwrite your save files, we're going to let you bring them.
And see, and that makes more sense now in my head, because like I didn't really delve that much into Warcraft 3 Reforged, so that sounds like a direct response from one of the many flaws of that game. So that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Warcraft 3 Reforged was such a miss on so many levels. Like, a lot of people are kind of staring at it as they decided to highlight this tweet here from a fellow Sean Hollister. I'm staying the hell away from this. And I can understand why, especially after seeing what happened with the last time they decided to bring back a golden era Blizzard game from the dead.
You coming back from the dead, they're bringing Burning Crusade back to classic. Which I'm pretty sure we've covered. And my
Yeah.
brain is just melting out my ears. I'm
I think
sorry.
so.
It's
But-
been a day.
Hey, let's talk about EA. One of the oddest little stories to pop out is one of their employees decided to start selling rare items that he had gotten from EA. Some of them going for upwards of $1,000. And, if you steal assets from your company, even if it's a really fucking dumb asset that shouldn't exist in the first place, because $1,000 items should not fucking exist in any video game economy, this is really the dumbest move I've ever heard from an existing individual within a company. And then they just show off how stupid this shit is by selling it off for $1,700 for a particular item.
Oh, see, here's the thing. From what I've understood, they weren't stealing the assets. These are assets that are meant to be given out as like a discretionary compensation kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, oh shit, we really done fucked up. Please don't hate us. Take this. But yeah, these
But,
are
yeah.
very, very rarely supposed to be given out.
Yeah, and you're not supposed to just sell them. It is stealing once you've decided, I'm gonna parse this off to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just another thing in a long line of issues that EA has been having to deal with when it comes to FIFA Ultimate Team. You know, like there've been a lot of FIFA Ultimate Team is like one of the main focuses of a lot of like loot box conversations when it comes to the legalities of such things
Hmm.
over in Europe right now. And you know, they've weathered a whole lot of criticism that is definitely
Justified.
due to them because of the FIFA Ultimate Team. Um, but at the same time, like if you have an internal employee that is selling off the rarest of rare cards in this instance, like yes, that's something you definitely want to investigate. And hopefully EA has some results at some point. I would assume they would probably want to get this off of their back before any of these class action lawsuits that are being filed against them in the US and Canada um continue on.
Hmm. I just the whole concept that $1,000 for a digital item blows my goddamn mind, to be honest. And I know that's a little bit of hey kids, get off of my lawn. Uh, because some people do enjoy the fact that they were able to, through whatever means, get an item that is worth that chunk of change. But I just am not pleased with the idea of a video game having an item that is worth that sum of money. Like, selling like cosmetic packs for $5 is one thing, but something that, like, especially with player cards, right? Things that just make the game easier for you. It's horseshit.
I mean, pay to win.
Fuck EA and their FIFA and all of that horseshit involved along with it. Hey, while I'm mad, also fuck this guy. Fuck this guy right here. Sinatra from the Valorant Champions Tour on the Sentinels team has been suspended from play due to sexual assault allegations, which he denies.
Yes. I can provide a bit more on this one since it's esports and
Hmm.
I am the esports man apparently for this show. Um so Sinatra is is a major name
Yeah,
in
I'm
the esports
actually
world.
familiar with Sinatra. Like, I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he was the 2019 Overwatch League MVP. He was one of the first major signings for the league. Whenever the San Francisco Shock signed him, he led the team that same year. He won the MVP to the Overwatch League championship. Um, and he also made a lot of news last year whenever he announced he was retiring from Overwatch to focus on Valorant.
Mhm.
Um, but all of that aside, that's his profile. Like he has a huge profile in both Overwatch and Valorant communities still to this day. But the allegations against him come from his ex-girlfriend, um, whose name escapes me at the moment. Cleo Hernandez. There we go. They were together through most of 2019, and Cleo on March 9th released a Google Doc with a litany of allegations of sexual assault, forced sex, also a lot of emotional abuse from Sinatra, along with some evidence. Like there's screenshots of text messages between the two. There's screenshots of uh, Discord and text message conversations between Hernandez and friends talking about her relationship with Sinatra, and there's also an audio file where Hernandez claims in the audio file you can hear her telling Sinatra that she doesn't want to continue having sex with him multiple times in the audio file, but he continues to push her to continuing. Um, it's a read. I'll just say that definite content warning for sexual assault and emotional abuse for anyone that does choose to read the entire document there. But they're all very credible allegations,
Mm,
and she has evidence to back up her claims. And I think it's the smart thing for Riot and Sentinels to suspend him at the moment, even though he was scheduled to to participate in a Valorant Champions Tour event over the weekend, and he did not participate in that because of the suspension. And I know Hernandez has made it public that she wants to participate in the investigation
mm,
herself. She's trying to make herself available to either Riot or Sentinels, or both, to help facilitate this and try and get to the bottom of everything. Um, Sinatra did deny the accusations. Um, so which is expected, and also some people within the esports world are taking our support that offered him support, most notably former Overwatch League pro for the Atlanta Reign, Daffrin, was out there voicing his support for Sinatra in this. um I read the document, and it all seems very, very credible.
yeah, the
Obviously,
document is pretty like specific and with real like these really are things that she can show that literally describe what she's saying.
yeah, yeah, it's and I don't know, like, it's one of those things where it's I lean on the side of believing survivors
Mm,
personally. That does not mean that you don't, like, investigate and report this out and figure out, as much of the truth as you can. But at the same time, like, the details that she puts in this document are damning in a lot of ways. And I don't really think that Sinatra has had many answers for the evidence that she's put out there. So we'll see what happens. Like, Sinatra is a very, very powerful player in the esports world right now,
mm.
and we know what happens sometimes whenever powerful people have accusations come out against them. So we'll just hope that whatever justice needs to be served is served in a way here.
Yeah, I'm normally a like, okay, the news just broke, or let's let it sit for a while and really see where this goes. But Sinatra is such a big name, and the document is so damning. I don't see a way for him unless he has some real, real stuff to talk about, which he hasn't so far. I don't see a way for him to earn back a lot of people's trust, and that people are, backing him up after reading all of this. Um, Kind of gross to me. Like, yeah, I do not like it.
I mean, it speaks to the culture of esports in a lot of ways.
Mm,
These are very powerful young adults that command a wide audience. Like, Sinatra has over 500,000 Twitch subscribers.
mm,
Um, and no matter, like, look, Valorant and Riot and Sentinels can do what they will with
mm,
him. Like, he could be, like, kicked out of the tour at some because of this. He could, like, Sentinels could um divest themselves of Sinatra based off of this. But like, if, let's just say, like, this stuff comes out and Twitch does nothing about his channel, he'll still have a wide audience. He'll still have clout. We
mm,
saw it happen with other people in Overwatch League that had issues that ended up leaving Overwatch League. XQC is the main person I'm thinking of here. Um, and he is still has a wide audience, despite his issues there. So now, granted, his stuff that is not sexual assault, his was just more like being extremely homophobic.
mm.
But like, it goes to show that, like, there is a culture within esports of like not believing survivors and not believing women specifically whenever these sort of things come out. I mean, we just saw it all happen with the fighting game community this past year. the Smash community basically was like turned upside down because of similar things, you know. So I mean, Evo itself was messed up by a lot of different sexual assault um, allegations. So it esports needs to take a long, hard look at itself in the mirror and kind of reevaluate what exactly we're doing here in a lot of ways.
Yeah, this is. Some people are like, oh, we need to get more females in gaming. How? When, like, a new one of these seems to pop up every few months of some very high level, respected player getting some real concrete allegations against them.
Well, I mean, for me, like like holding Sinatra like accountable for whatever you find in an investigation is the perfect is a good step towards making women feel safe
Mm.
in games. I mean, and I know I'm speaking from a place of privilege as you know as not a woman, but like it's one of those things where like you have to create environments and ecosystems that are inclusive and inviting, and also ones that don't breed these sort of like toxic cults of personality
Mhm.
in the ways that they do.
I can't imagine myself if I had gotten popular and somewhat famous at around the age of 18 or 19, because I did believe a whole lot of dumb shit. Um, but this is a very different level. Um, well, let's take a break from all of that. Yeah, it's time for the seventh inning stretch. Because I knew directly after that maybe we need to regain our happiness before moving forward. So welcome to the seventh inning stretch. Bladesball is going strong again. We did report on the first day back. It's been a very hectic 2 weeks. How have you been feeling about it, Brian?
Um, I was glad. I was very in tune for the first season back. Congrats to the Hades Tigers on getting your third championship after the Ascension provision was taken away, so you get to stick around. But I'll be real. I was so busy this past week. I haven't had a ton of chances to check in on the last season. I know that the Baltimore Crabs walked away with the championship in season 13, but I unfortunately did not get to watch any of the playoffs. So I think you might be better served to lead that discussion. Although I just discovered that apparently like 80,000 of my fucking coins disappeared, and I'm wondering what the fuck happened.
That part I don't know about. I haven't heard of any coins disappearing, but yeah, the Crabs, the only team to have ever ascended. They were brought back. Blaseball, the game band themselves, wanting to undo the whole concept of ascension and just keep the teams in place, so that there isn't so much chaos and especially when adding expansion teams, the mechanics, the worms, and
The
who is
Atlantis Georgias.
the Atlantis Georges. How did I forget the one that I love the most? Um, there was from what I gathered from the community, there are a lot of people very disappointed. If the tacos had won, right? That would have been huge. Seeing the tacos, a team that has been so bad in past seasons. Let's not beat around the bush, I guess. That they went as far as to sacrifice their own players because, what are we going to do anyway with these guys? The champions of speed running through, having them win would have been amazing. And to have the Crabs, a team that is basically the New York Yankees of Blaseball, nobody, like, there's a lot of people who love the Crabs. And then everybody who is not the Crabs absolutely despises the Crabs, turning them into sort of a heel team at this point. It's fun to watch. The Blaseball community obviously doesn't hate anybody for following a specific team, but it is kind of fun to have a heel, within the system now that you can really look at. As well, flooding has been a major thing since the comeback, sweeping away characters, and the whole the week before everything went down, all of the weird weather patterns had been taken care of, and here we see coming back, and the floods are just starting to bring all of that stuff back, and it looks like the coin, the embodiment of capitalism, may be blaming the fans on this. So yeah, so there may be that little bit of a turn in the story. But man, I've been real happy with Blaseball the last few weeks. The site is so much smoother. There has been a whole lot of changes going around. I actually accidentally brought Jessica Telephone into the wings for a week. That was fun. Literally, that was my bad. I meant to put down 10 votes just for a laugh, and then I put 1,000. And I was like, who cares? Like, that's a drop in the bucket. And then we won her, and then some people did some voting, like number crunching, and like, like this really just won by like 1,000 tickets. That's weird. Oh, okay.
There you go, making your voice heard.
Yeah, she's already back though, and I might actually end up playing the character that got brought in her place. Baker Lady. It'll be fun, and if so, I'll let you guys know what the Twitter is. But that's in discussion, so that should be fun. But yeah, so far the season is going interesting. The Hades Tigers are absolutely killing it out there, and one of the biggest Zero to Heroes, Tokyo Lift, are actually really killing it this season. They so far have blown away the Georgias, went toe to toe with the Jazz Hands, and has come up, and even managed to beat my Wings once. It was a fascinating game so far. They had a whole lot of changes that took place over the Sunday break due to the elections. Every team really had huge changes. So, yeah, Blaseball is going to get a whole lot more chaotic. It looks like coming up now.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I did note from this past week is that now it is official. The Miami Dale are the only original Blaseball team to have never made the postseason. So we have
Wow.
that badge of honor.
Poor Dale. Man,
It's all right. We'll get there some point.
I was sad actually. At the end of last week, the 3 of the seeds were the Moist Talkers, the Tacos, and the Wild Wings. Was like, oh well, shit. At least one of us gets to be happy. Crats. But
Oh
hey,
Lord.
that is your 7th inning stretch.
Oh well, we should end with our standings recap real quick.
Go for it.
So, current division leaders on day 11, sorry.
Mhm.
The Hades Tigers lead the Wild High. The Boston Flowers lead the Wild Low, although they are currently kind of tied with the Tacos there. Mild High, the San Francisco Lovers are on top, and in the Mild Low, Linz's favorite, the Canada Moist Talkers.
You can't keep a good Canadian team down. which is why the Leafs still haven't won the cup,
Mhm.
Oof.
because they're definitely not good. Any rate, I live an hour outside of Toronto, and I hate that team with a passion.
Hey, how about that Toronto baseball team?
Oh, the Jays? They're not terrible. I actually don't know how they're doing this year.
I, I don't know how
Oh,
they did
season
last
hasn't
year.
started yet.
Yeah, the season has started, but I don't know how they actually did last year.
They were okay. They made the postseason.
Fair enough. All right, let's just drop back into the news. Roblox has gone public, valued at $38 billion.
Fuck me. God damn it. I've read this number multiple times now, but still, fuck me.
And I mean, I know someone who jumped in on the stock when the IPO finally dropped because it has been much delayed. And so it had its peak with its initial offering at $73.90 on Thursday.
Mhm.
Um, it has dropped as low as $69.70,
Nice.
which was Friday. But it's actually back on an upswing. We're looking at $72.15 per share right now
How?
as of close today. So it's doing good.
It makes it more valuable than EA, or you could add Take-Two and Ubisoft, and it's more valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roblox is not a good game.
But boy, did those kids love it. I don't understand.
They do.
But of course,
It's
I am an old.
I mean, Roblox is a cool premise.
Mhm.
The fact that you can do quite literally anything. There are people that have made essentially copies of popular games within Roblox. It's kind of cool. Not gonna lie. And it brings in a shit ton of money. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's fairly kid friendly, so.
And it's not Fortnite.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 56% of the users are under age 13.
Yep.
It's Minecraft with slightly better graphics.
Yeah. You know
But
what?
doesn't play anywhere near as good as Minecraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
What weirds me out are like the adult YouTubers who are like super into Roblox and like go and party with all of their Roblox people, and it's a little creepy. Like, this is of course me looking in through a weird perspective, and of course, adult entertainer, there's got to be a better way to phrase that, but for children, have existed for a long time. I mean, even Pee Wee Herman existed, sort of playing off of that stereotype in a unique and interesting way, but like, there's so much that just feels off when I look at Roblox. And
It's
yeah.
like watching a grown man play, or a grown adult even, play around in like the McDonald's play place.
I mean, it's hard for me to talk. I literally own a set of Legos.
And
And yeah. So like I do some childish stuff too in my free time, but holy shit.
dude, we're on a podcast talking about the video games we play.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just wear that badge of shame for the rest of my life.
Oh, please.
As
I
my
get-
pyramid of Funko Pop figures stare at me from the top of my desk. Like, come on.
All right, we have a bunch of follow-ups to some older stuff. So we've got a good deal of these to follow up on previous things we have talked about on Mr. Video Games. Starting with Red Candle, you may remember that as the game that keeps getting banned because of it having some relation in the mocking of the president of China. Um, and for that, it has been banned in almost everywhere. They have finally set up a distribution through their own method. It will be DRM free, so you can go to their website and pick up the game as much as you want now, because GOG and Steam apparently want absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I saw this news come down, and it made me very happy because I think Devotion is an incredible game,
Mhm.
and if like it's incredible. And I think it should still be available for sale, obviously. So I'm glad that they were able to set up their own storefront and get not only that, but they're also putting out Detention, their previous game, out DRM free, and apparently the plan is to release all future titles as well. So good on them. I'm glad they found a way to get that game back out into the ecosystem. I mean, it's been like 2 years really since it was banned from storefronts, especially specifically Steam and GOG. And then like there
Mm.
was that weird thing a few months back where it popped up on GOG for like a hot minute, but then GOG took it down almost immediately. It was just I don't know. It's been a very like up and down cycle with Devotion. I'm just glad that it's available for anybody to purchase and play, because it is to me, if you're into horror or anything like that, like it is a required reading sort of game.
I'm actually going to move some of these stories around here. Just taking a look at everything from how we're going here, but on that same angle, then of uh, games that have popped up and done some really weird things, I wanted to follow up with Sinking City. Uh, the developers have submitted their own DMCA against the game on Steam, getting it taken offline. And the publisher that they have worked with has a very lengthy response. They are not happy after having bankrolled basically Frogware during the entirety of the development of the game, and then to get that pulled out from underneath them. And I see no way this does not end in a huge legal battle at this point between Frogware declaring that the publisher stole everything from them. And there are some valid points in that. But also, Nacon was given the full rights to distribute the game. And this is some really weird shit going on with this, and we're going to stick with this going through, but it only seems to get spicier as we go along.
Yeah, I mean, and it should be noted that the reason why Frogwares is having such issues with Nacon is because like they are claiming that Nacon is withholding payment
Mm.
to them. They're withholding like upwards of like €1 million in unpaid royalties. So this would definitely go to court.
Yeah, yeah, there is absolutely no way not to. If they have a signed contract saying that they are owed a percentage or what have you, and Nacon has not been paying it, then certainly they do have that right. It is fascinating though. I don't know why weird legal battles like this, and absolutely had no familiarity whatsoever with Frogware and Nacon before this. So if anything, it's some hellacious publicity for them.
Yo, games are weird. Like who like I mean, it's always gonna make news whenever a studio DMCA's its own game.
Yeah, no, we made it, but we don't want it out anymore. All right. Hey, speaking of some just weird shit, GameStop has actually hired one of Wall Street Bets' own, uh, Ryan Papa Cohen, to work for GameStop, um, and help drive forward the company. Weird that Reddit gave this man a job of such high prestige.
So there is a correction there, and
Yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to step on you. So Ryan Cohen actually already had an ownership stake in GameStop. He was the former CEO of Chewy.com who invested in the company like months back in
Mm.
2020. He owns like 10% of the company at this point. So he's like, but the where his connection to Wall Street Bets is that everyone on Wall Street Bets has been looking to him as like the hero of all of this within GameStop. Like he is like the person who everybody looks to as like the man who will save the company because he created Chewy. Um, and he's the man who should be running everything to save the company and all this other stuff. Like there was a lot of messaging around him, like not selling his stock as being a vote of confidence in what Wall Street Bets was doing.
Mhm.
When in actuality, if he had tried to sell any of his stock during that whole thing going down, definite SEC investigation for insider trading possibly coming his way. So, all that being said, yes, this is still news though because like Cohen, um, is being put in charge of like basically transitioning the company into an online sort of thing rather than brick and mortar, which is definitely the route that they needed to go like a decade ago in many ways. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so bizarre, and like there are so many parts of GameStop trying to fight against each other. And this screenshot here of after some of this um, of just up. GameStop stock has been one of the wildest fucking rides. Actually, what is GameStop stocks at right now? Okay, so it did go back down. So it's at 215, whereas previously it was trending in the 120s. So still up overall from just some real odd goings on. I mean, the peaks and troughs of this whole ordeal have been so fucking bizarre to watch. I don't understand what's happening with GameStop anymore. Do you guys know?
I'm just trying to ignore it. I did not get on the train when it was overinflating. I did not jump on the I love this stunk. Um, I did jump on AMC and kind of got screwed on that. So not terribly because I only had like $25 to invest, so I had 2 shares.
There.
Um, I lost like $2.
Oh no, big deal.
Yeah, right. Um, but yeah, like this whole GameStop thing has just been so fucked. So fucked.
Yeah. And like the thing is like even if like Cohen does come in to like lead the like, is coming in to like lead this new direction for the company, like it's still like there's still so much to address with what makes this company profitable or so is supposedly supposed to make this company profitable. Like there has to be a completely different swing and a way of like cultivating relationships with publishers and hardware makers like Sony and Microsoft, who, if you remember correctly, like Sony last year or a little bit before that, um, pulled any form of digital sales from the GameStop store, so that you couldn't buy digital like any like digital cards or anything like that, or like any sort of like digital games in the store anymore. So like, and if they're pivoting to a digital storefront or any kind of like that resembles that, and trying to phase out brick and mortar and physical game sales, um, which are decreasing more and more, like where are you going to get that other product? You know, it's like
Yeah.
there's just so many questions around this, and the people that think that that Cohen being put in this position is the immediate godsend, there's still a lot to prove here.
Oh yeah. And I don't know. We've already seen companies trying to be like the the geeky niche site for selling things. But the problem is that it is so hard to get those, lucrative contracts with Sony, with Microsoft, with publishers, with brand owners, with Disney, what have you, that they tend to flare out pretty quickly.
Like the last great haven for physical nerd merchandise was Think Geek, and they got bought by GameStop and then promptly folded,
Yeah.
which I'm still really pissed about.
I mean, yeah, they kind of Think Geek in his heyday was a pretty neat site, and I mean, yeah, you do still have really cool stores that are popping up that are doing a lot of work with great things in the indie scene, right? Your I Am 8-Bits and whatnot make some amazingly uh great especially boutique items and things along those lines. Um, but GameStop can't work on the indie trends. They kind of have to go with that, AAA hype wheel to really get going, and at least to keep the company at the size that GameStop wants to be. And how do you compete against Amazon if you don't have something that is unique to you? I just don't know what that could be.
Yeah.
But moving forward with our follow ups on Xbox's purchase of Bethesda, while we're still kind of in the annoyed with capitalism phase of this podcast. Thank you, Matthew Handrahand of GameIndustry.biz, one of our favorite sites of all time. Microsoft has stated that while there is nothing terribly official, it is very likely that you will start to see a winding down of Bethesda titles being sold outside of the Xbox and PC sphere. Now, that doesn't stop them from having still, multi-console releases, since it is very likely that a lot of the larger major games are going to see a lot of higher sales if they release on multiple consoles, but still having, say, a 1 year moratorium on it just being Xbox and PC only, or things along those lines, and really, putting in that Game Pass work that we've seen lately. They have put a whole bunch of Bethesda media on that Game Pass. Really is going to make it sort of anti-consumer, sort of pro-consumer. There's so many pros and cons here to what it sounds like they'll be doing with Bethesda moving forward, but nothing that is currently in the works is being taken away. As it mentions down here, Deathloop is still coming out exclusive to the PS5, so that plan is not changing. They already had the contracts in place.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this just feeds into the continued Microsoft strategy of focusing on Game Pass. Like if you can put out exclusive Bethesda titles on Game Pass day one, then like you are continuing to build an install base there. And like I can see that definitely being something that you can sell a good amount of Game Pass subscriptions on. You know, it's just making that service more appealing. I'm with you. Consolidation is a thing that is that's a word to describe it. But in terms of just like the strategy here, like I think it's sound that for them to to have some exclusives from this purchase be there, because like they they spent $7.5 billion. They
Yeah.
didn't do that to bring Bethesda in so they could keep making every game that they make for other consoles. You know, so like it makes total sense why that would happen, and it'll be interesting to see the strategy they take with deciding which games they keep as exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem rather than what they allow to appear on other consoles.
Yeah, like Microsoft exclusives aren't exactly a new thing, so I don't know. I don't get as worked up as a lot of people do. Oh, it's an exclusive to environment I don't have access to. Okay. Then I won't play that game. I don't know. It's and from the sounds of it, they're still going to be releasing plenty of Switch games, plenty of PlayStation games, what have you. So this doesn't really register as a giant change in my own head.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we don't know what those numbers are going to look like. We don't know which titles those are going to be because,
Mm.
like, Bethesda has so many studios underneath its own umbrella in this purchase. Like, could the next Arcane game be the exclusive? Could the next id game be an exclusive? Or are we talking Elder Scrolls?
Mhm.
Because, like, let's be real, like, this is going to generate two monumental things in gaming that we have never seen before. One, whenever Deathloop releases, there's going to be an Xbox logo on a Sony timed exclusive game. Just think about
Nice.
that mind fuck for a second. Like that would like this is completely new territory, even if it's just for like the loading, like the loading screen when you boot it up for
Mm.
the first time, you know. And the other thing is that we could potentially see these major tenant Bethesda franchises like Fallout and Elder Scrolls and and maybe even Starfield, whenever there's more to say about Starfield, being exclusive to Microsoft. We could see a Elder Scrolls game not releasing on the PlayStation. Like it's just it's whenever you sit down and think about how like the scale that is, like it is dumbfounding in a lot of ways, but it also makes total sense if Microsoft wants to push players to Game Pass and make Game Pass a destination place. It already is in many ways,
Mm.
you know, but if you have the only place where you can play Elder Scrolls, you're gonna get all the people that want to play Elder Scrolls, no matter what they say or a gripe about with it.
One thing that kind of like rings to me is that they've purchased a whole lot of games with real PC fruits, right? You're talking your Dooms and your Fallouts and what have you. Seeing a budget title coming out, especially of the titles with those roots, I don't think would really amaze me, right? Seeing like something new in a sort of pseudo original Doom looking style. That's the sort of thing that I could really see come out of this. There is a whole lot of hurry up and wait to see what Bethesda really ends up releasing in the future. It's right now most of the games that will be coming out this year, that will be coming out next year, likely they already have contracts in place. It'll be once we get past those points where they no longer have games with contracts on who they can and cannot release with, that we're really going to see and understand what this acquisition truly means.
Yeah,
But it does,
I
to
mean,
me, open them up to so much more that they could do.
it does, and honestly, we're already seeing an example of what this purchase is going to do
Mm.
with with Microsoft promoting Bethesda games on their service. I mean, I think the next story we have pulled up here was like the Microsoft added like 20 Bethesda games to Game Pass the same day, just because of the purchase, and it's like a litany of titles, and like not just like okay titles, like tentpole titles that are on this service now. Some of them have been there before, some of them are there for the first time, but they're going whole hog with this.
Oh yeah, really bringing back like a whole catalog of Doom releases, especially that is kind of sexy to look at. But yeah, there is a lot of
Oddly enough,
value.
no Doom 2016 though.
I don't think a lot of people really loved the Doom 2016 remake. Eternal got a lot right that game got very wrong.
Wait, you talking about like no, that first new Doom was like like that was the thing that made Doom Eternal possible. Like I don't know.
It
To
made it
me, Doom
possible, but like
to
it
me
just
Doom 20 sorry, go ahead.
no. Go ahead.
I would say to me Doom 2016 is a much better game than
Really?
Doom Eternal personally. Yeah, yeah. Whole hog.
Oh, I would absolutely rather play Doom Eternal any day of the week. It just feels so much smoother to me.
Hmm.
I just found
Well,
myself really frustrated with the original reimagining of Doom.
hmm.
But hey, that's a me thing potentially. And hey,
Hey,
you can access Fallout
everybody has their own opinion.
76. Sorry.
Oh God.
Such a mess, though, still.
I
Oh
don't
my.
know. Which one is really the kind of like egg of this? Is it Fallout 76 or is it Rage 2?
I was really staring between the two, like, hmm.
Also, apparently, you want to play Morrowind again. There, you can play Morrowind again.
Oh, that game is just never ever going to die, is it?
Oh yeah, no, Skyrim's there too. But yes, neither will die.
Skyrim will never die.
Mm. But what hey, what will die? Oh God. Thank you.
Oh Jesus.
I was thinking about, vampires. And then yeah. Maybe
Okay,
that was
well, in that way it makes sense. But
yeah, I just saw Vampire the Masquerade was oh yeah, vampires. Brain, no. What a kludgy transition. There have been reports of a number of people were laid off. I don't think they got a hard number. They confirmed the layoffs. I haven't actually checked this update.
no, there's no number. Hardsuit Labs came out and said that a small number of people were affected,
Mm.
but I don't know what they constitute as a small number because it seems like they laid off the entire narrative department
Oof.
along with people from multiple other departments.
I guess in an attempt to start over with a new story.
Well, I mean, they're not developing the game anymore.
Oh,
Like they had the game taken away from them, so they're not
oh,
even
that's
like
right. I forgot that part.
touching Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 anymore. So it's really about like what are they working on next, or like what did the impact of Paradox pulling that game from them like due to the studio.
Mm. Yeah, we really don't know what Hardsuit Labs is working on, if they even are working on an independent project, and whether they're working on potentially, say, another project being in an assistant role to another team.
And I'm trying to check and see if they have anything recent listed on their. Nope, nope. Literally, Wow. I went to their website and I clicked on the games tab to look at what they had, and when I clicked it to a 404 page not found.
Oh,
Uh,
oh,
uh,
that don't make anybody feel
so
good.
they haven't announced. They don't have anything announced. Yeah, they're not working on anything announced right now.
Hmm. Oh, lovely. Good. Man. It doesn't sound like it is a huge amount of people, and especially like if a lot of the problems, from my understanding at least, came from some of the narrative ends of Bloodlines 2 and some of the members of that team. Am I
Well,
crazy or
I mean,
misremembering?
there were some issues with some of the higher ups on the project. People being let go, or people having having sexual assault allegations come out against them and being let go. But I don't. There has not been any real information about why the game was taken away in full force. Obviously, like, you have that much stuff come up around the development of a game. There's bound to be something there that no one is talking about publicly right now, but there's been no explicit confirmation on any particular reason why any of those people were released from the project, outside of Chris Avellone, who of course had many sexual assault
Yeah,
allegations released against him. But yeah, nothing concrete.
fair enough. And our last story of the day, EA has basically stated with the companies that they have been acquiring of late and anything along those lines with currently existing companies, that they are going to take a bit of a step back, stop doing the massively online stuff that has been kind of falling out and along those lines. Sounds like a lot of this came from Rebecca Valentine, formerly Game Industry and now at IGN. But yeah, it sounds like after the woes of Anthem that they may be tweaking how they work with the companies they own from now on to try to get a positive name back for EA.
I, I mean, good on them, but it's going to take a hell of a lot more to get a positive name back for EA.
You're not wrong.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those things where it's a shame that it seems like Anthem's failure was the reason why this decree had to come down, or even why this announcement had to be made, because this is very weird
It
for a
is, isn't
publisher
it?
to come out like, "Hey, we're letting the studios that we bought make games because we bought them because they were so good at making games. This is what we're doing now. We're not telling them what to do." Um, but it's just such a weird, like, messaging thing,
Mhm.
first and foremost. But it really sucks that Anthem going the way that it did is why this happened, because Anthem had potential. If they had not tried to go into this other sector of games as a service and really tried to focus on what makes BioWare games great, then I don't know if you necessarily would end up with the failure that Anthem was, obviously. And there are still plenty of people at BioWare who wanted to make that thing work, but it, if it's one of those things where if Anthem had to die in the way that it did, I'm
Mhm.
glad that at least it died for a good reason, even if it is one of the weirdest, like, message things to come out of a publisher in a long time. Like, it's just so odd. I just can't get over the oddity of it. Of, like, EA basically saying, "Hey, we're gonna let our studios make games the way they want to make them now." Like, that's why
That's
you bought them.
yeah, you bought these people to make their games, right? Not to make your games. Am I wrong?
Like, this, it's just, it all goes back to me, like, the arguments around the Frostbite engine from like earlier last decade.
Mm.
Building Mass Effect Andromeda on Frostbite whenever it was not optimized for that style of game. Like it's just so many different weird, like stubborn points that EA wanted to put on the studios around them. And it seems like the only one that really like eluded that was Respawn. And Respawn is the brightest spot in the entire catalog of EA products right now. Apex is still going super strong, and I still love that game. Titanfall, like I'm crossing my fingers and toes for Titanfall 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they've let Respawn do what they do with very minimal interference from what we've seen. And if that's that's the example there, then by all means let BioWare do their own thing and let them make Dragon Age 4 as good as it can be without these hindrances, because you feel like you need to like throw them into a trend now because you need to constantly have income loops, or revenue streams rather. Like you can still let them make those games and still have another team that can build those style of games too.
Yeah.
The answer is not making Dragon Age 4 fucking Destiny.
Yeah, like you can still have your people make Dragon Age 4, but maybe also if you want to see games in other areas, make those different games.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
But that is our last story for today for Mr. Video Games. However, we cannot finish, of course, a Mr. Video Games without naming the Mr. Video Game Award winner of the week. If you do not know what Mr. Video Games is, it is a thing that you look at. It is the best, the worst, Super Piccolo, interesting timing when I am just doing the spiel about Mr. Video Games for the end of the stream. Hey, Piccolo, though, you can at least drop in to see one of my favorite things that has come up recently. So, Mr. Video Games is, of course, the thing that is so good, so bad, so ugly, it is a thing that you have to look at it and say, oh my god, this is video games right here. And our winner for March the 15th, 2021 is... Ring, 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 ring. Banana controller. Thank you from Sony. Sony is putting in a patent for a controller that basically AR technology would map the buttons onto whatever the person may have lying around. And the illustration that they used is one of my favorite things of all times. This illustration absolutely kills me for part of their patent that they're putting in. Does this mean that a banana will be the future controller for the PlayStation 5? Nobody truly knows, but seeing this prototype idea is ridiculous, and I love it.
This is honestly like the actual tech behind this is super interesting to delve into, but I love the fact that they used the banana as the test image for this. It is just beautiful, and honestly, it looks like one of those like boomerang PlayStation 3 controllers already. So, like, what's the true difference between that and a banana playing your Dark Souls on?
I mean, I could see fruit-based controllers having their distinct downfalls. I mean, could you not see like really intense boss fight and then all of a sudden your controller stops responding and you realize your hands are kind of wet because you've squished the hell out of your controller?
But
That's
hey,
why you get one of the plastic bananas.
Yeah, or you could just have a secondary banana. The application suggests that you could have a second object as well, also map your buttons onto. So you squish your one banana out of frustration, and then you pull out your second banana.
Oh, so
It's
you
a lot
need
cheaper
pocket
than buying a new
bananas.
DualShock. Pocket bananas.
Sorry. It's
No.
It's my Thursday, so my brain is already mush.
You're fine.
Gamers of the future will wander around with pocket bananas, and it really is a banana. It is not nice to see you. Holy
Funny
shit.
how that didn't make it into Ready Player 2.
You know what? Like, I seem to remember seeing tech because we were talking about ThinkGeek
Mm.
earlier. I seem to remember seeing a constructor kit that you could use to do shit like this. And I can't for the life of me remember what it's called.
You know, the return of the anime thighs bordering what I actually want to show off again. Really just amusing to me, considering we're talking about pocket bananas now.
God. What have I done?
Oh, the world is absolutely...
Lady Marowyn should not commentate during streams when her brain is mush. It
Hmm.
No.
sends the commentary in very interesting places.
No, it can only go better at this point.
Interesting is good.
Oh, yeah, it's I mean, maybe it would encourage people to eat healthier, but at the same time, I could also see that turning into the ultimate punishment for parents. Kids been playing too much video games, eat their controller.
Oh god, this is the no. This is the ultimate evolution of Game Fuel. This is the you don't even have to like buy a controller anymore. You just buy a Mountain Dew Game Fuel and then play the game on your Mountain Dew Game Fuel can.
You know what? So this has been Mr. Video Games March 17th. Thank you everyone for coming, and I'll do a raid, so Piccolo's raid was not in vain, but you came at such an interesting time. Lady Marilyn, do you have any words for us this evening?
Oh my god, Henry, you just gave an excellent point. Eat, sleep, breathe gaming.
Ah. No game, no life.
Oh god, I love it. It's so good.
Controllers, everything a growing gamer needs.
Brian, any final words?
Everyone, be safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Don't eat your controllers until you beat Dark Souls. And follow me on Twitter at WonderboyOTM and check out my queer pro wrestling podcast, LGBT in the Ring, every Thursday on the Outsports podcast network. It's always fun, and you can follow the show at LGBT Ring Pod. That's all my plugs while I continue to giggle about this amazingly yet also stupefying technology.
Thank you everyone who came today. Coop, Graves, Kelverin, and of course the interesting timing of a raid from Super Piccolo. I'm not seeing a whole lot of the people that I really know for raiding. So we're going to raid somebody that is honestly a friend of a friend. So I don't actually know a whole lot about them. But I think the name of the channel goes along well after the banana controller. We're going to raid Tasteful Sideburb, who is playing Mass Effect.
Ooh, on
And-
brand.
All right. And thank you everyone for coming. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.